Hey guys, so rain gear options. So right now what I use is I use the Outdoor Research Helium II rain jacket. It's about 6 or 7 ounces, depending on your size, of course. But this is made of Pertex and it's very minimalist, doesn't have any pockets, doesn't have any pit zips. It just pretty much is a hood that has a kind of a cinch at the back and a cinch at the waist and zipper, and you're good to go. Now you have a couple options to consider. Now I considered the Outdoor Research Helium HD, which had the pit zips, but honestly, one of the things to remember about hiking in the rain is that you're going to get wet. It just is one of those things that's going to end up happening to you. You're either going to get wet from water, which I try to avoid, or sweat, because it's just kind of one of those things that's going to happen. You're trapping all that heat in place, and while you're hiking, and you're just going to get soaked either way. So sometimes I actually try to avoid putting on rain gear if I absolutely can. Sometimes I can't because, of course, hypothermia is one of those things that I'm trying my best to avoid. But the Outdoor Research Helium 2 has been perfect for me. It's very durable, very lightweight. I don't have any concerns about kind of going through bushes, branches, thorns, those sort of things. It just kind of goes right off, and it's a very tough material. So I use this on top right now. On the bottom, right now what I use is the Zpacks rain kilt. Yes, it's a kilt. It's not a skirt. It's a kilt. And all it is, it's a piece of Cuban fiber that I use that doubles as my ground sheet. And it's exactly what it says. It's just a rectangular piece of Cuban fiber that I slip on, and it has a cinch it tight, and it keeps your bottom half kind of up to your knees with, completely dry. I didn't have a problem using it in the maroon bells, and it works great. I love that it's multi-purpose, and so I actually don't bring a dedicated ground sheet anymore. I use the rain kilt, and I got the large version especially for that. So I unzip it, lay it out, and it works perfectly. Pick it up in the morning, and you're good to go. So that's the combo I use when I'm hiking in the rain most often. Sometimes I'll just put on the rain jacket and not put the rain kilt on right away. I'll just kind of watch and see what the weather is doing. But if you're talking full-on rain gear, like I'm ready to go, hood up on the Outdoor Research Helium 2, and I put the rain kilt on. Now, just because I do it that way doesn't mean that you have to. That's the way I ended up going, and I know there's some other rain skirts out there, but that's what I use. That's what I find has the best, what I call sweat management, but also still keeping me dry, as well as staying pretty ultralight. One option I consider, and maybe you will consider as well, is for your bottom half using rain pants. Now the benefit of this is that you are not gonna get your bottom half wet at all. Some major drawbacks though, and one of the reasons I ended up not using this. Now, not to say that this is not always kind of a good option, because I would consider something like this if I was in significant rain or terrible weather consistently. So if I was, I'm considering actually taking rain pants or something like it if I go to the Sierras for an extended period of time. I've considered going to rain pants, but there are some drawbacks. The one I mentioned before is that you're going to sweat, and you're going to sweat like a fiend. It's not something you're going to escape. It traps a lot of heat, a lot of moisture, and so you're going to get super, super sweaty. As well as these things are heavy compared to the rain kilt, which I believe is 1.5 ounces. I'll correct it if I'm wrong. These things, this is just kind of no-name rain pants, are close to 1 pound. So you're talking, I think, 13 or 14 ounces. And to me, that's a significant addition. And that's one of the reasons I decided to kind of nix rain pants. But rain pants might be an option. If you hate the idea of rain getting anywhere on you, hey, go for rain pants. It's a viable option. Some people use them. An option that I don't have, but a lot of people have started to use, is a ultralight umbrella. The huge pro is that it's lightweight, and you don't have as much problems with sweat or getting just that icky feeling while you're hiking. And honestly, I've really considered an umbrella for a little while. One thing that really keeps me away from it though is in a significant storm or significant rain, people have to recognize that you have the possibility of you still getting soaked. So you have the umbrella, which is great, but some people I know will carry an umbrella and carry kind of a lightweight jacket option, just in case you have some significant sideways rain, or if you're going through a major storm and you absolutely have to keep your core dry. I would not rely on an umbrella for that. Maybe some people might. I mean, more power to you if that's what your style of hiking and what you like to do. But I honestly would not rely on just the umbrella as my only form of rain protection while hiking. Another option that some people use is the Goodwill Poncho. And poncho has a great benefit of being able to cover your pack while you're out hiking. And so you don't always have, I mean, there's some people who really capitalize on this. If you see the Paca, which is a poncho pack cover combined into one, and that's, pretty pricey. But just a typical plastic or nylon poncho I've seen a bunch of, because it does a nice job staying somewhat breathable because there's a lot of room for heat and stuff to escape, as well as keeping you dry. And you retain a lot of your mobility as well. It just is kind of like wearing a tarp. And that's one of the reasons I have never gone to that. As well as I don't need a pack cover. I use a pack liner. And so far, keep your fingers crossed, alcohol has been completely waterproof for me, except for the hydration port, which is a hole in the pack. So it is what it is. And it hasn't had an issue. So I haven't had to use a poncho. But poncho is another good option, as well as there are lots of great ponchos out there. I mentioned the Paca, but if you're looking for rain coverage overall, a poncho is a good option. Something you'll see a lot of are people talking about frog togs. And frog togs are this cheap, really lightweight rain suit that you can get from Walmart, or I think I've seen them at Meijer as well. Here in Ohio. And what it is, it's a very light and somewhat strong fabric that's waterproof. And so it's a really popular item among thru hikers because it's cheap. If you get a hole in your frog togs, which is definitely possible because it's not super strong, then you just pick another one up for 20 bucks. And if you buy the whole packet, which is rain pants and rain jacket, most people will actually not keep the pants, just keep the jacket, and whenever they need a new one, just buy it. So that's a great budget option. If you're looking for rain gear on the cheap, I don't want to spend a lot of money, that is definitely a way to go. Hopefully that helped those of you who are looking at some options for rain gear. My way is not only the way to go. That's what works well for me. You might find a poncho works well for you. And I know people like the umbrellas. That's the new trend that I'm seeing now, is those ultralight umbrella options. But try to figure out what works for you, especially when you're talking about sweat. Management is huge. You just don't want that feeling of being soaked from sweat. Trust me, it's just gross, especially if you've been on a trail for a couple days. It's not something that's really exciting to have to sweat more and stay in that sweat for a long period of time. So look for breathable options if you can, but you are going to have to end up having some sort of balance between breathability, weight, ultralight or lightweight, and coverage. So things to keep in mind. Hopefully this was helpful to those of you guys who are considering these options, and you guys have a good one. Thanks. Peace.